Man, you are not gonna believe what happened in my backyard last weekend. I threw what was supposed to be a chill neighborhood barbecue for my buddies and a few families on the block, and this HOA nightmare named Karen Wilkins decided she owned the whole street. She called the cops to shut us down, but she had no clue the mayor herself was sitting right there eating ribs like everyone else. I still get chills thinking about it. Let me set the scene for you. It was one of those perfect bright Saturday afternoons, the kind where the sun hits the grill just right and the smell of burgers and hot dogs floats through the air like pure happiness. I had string lights up even though it was daytime, because why not, right? My backyard was packed with laughter, kids splashing in the little inflatable pool and music bumping low from the speaker on the patio table. I let out a happy sigh as I flipped another batch of ribs. Man, the sauce was caramelizing perfectly. This was my first big party since I moved into this quiet cul-de-sac 6 months ago, and I wanted everyone to feel welcome. I had invited about 30 people, including my best friend from work and a couple neighbors I actually liked. One of them was Jessica Ramirez, this sharp-dressed woman with a warm smile who always brought the best stories and the best wine. She showed up in a casual sundress carrying a huge bowl of potato salad and gave me a big hug. "Hey Ryan, this looks amazing," she said, laughing. I had no idea she was about to become the hero of the day, but more on that later. Everything was going smooth until Karen showed up at my fence like a storm cloud in khakis. She lived 2 houses down, and ever since I moved in she had been sending me those passive-aggressive HOA emails about my lawn being half an inch too long or my trash cans not lined up perfectly. I sighed heavily when I saw her marching over, her face already twisted in that classic Karen scowl. "Excuse me," she snapped loud enough for half the yard to hear. "This noise is unacceptable. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and my husband is trying to watch golf." I kept my cool at first. "Hey Karen," I said, forcing a smile. "It's just a little backyard barbecue. We are keeping the music low and the kids are having fun. Want a burger?" She crossed her arms and glared. "Rules are rules, Ryan. The HOA handbook clearly states no amplified sound after noon on weekends. I am calling this in." You could hear the whole party go quiet for a second. Someone dropped a plate and the clatter made me wince. "Can you believe this?" I thought to myself. My blood was starting to boil, but I did not want to ruin the vibe. Jessica caught my eye from across the yard and raised an eyebrow like, "What is her deal?" I just shrugged and went back to the grill, trying to laugh it off. But Karen was not done. She pulled out her phone right there in front of everyone and dialed the non-emergency line. "Yes, this is Karen Wilkins at Maple Lane. There is an illegal gathering with loud music and too many cars. I need officers here immediately." She hung up with a smug little smirk and stared me down. "You will learn respect for the rules," she said before stomping off. The smell of the barbecue suddenly felt sour in the air. My guests started whispering and I felt that hot wave of frustration creep up my neck. I took a deep breath and turned up the music just a notch louder. "Hey everyone," I yelled with a grin, "let's not let one grumpy neighbor kill the fun. Who wants seconds?" Laughter bubbled up again, but I could feel the tension hanging there like smoke from the grill. Little did I know the real show was about to start when those cop cars pulled up 20 minutes later. The sirens were not blaring, thank God, but the 2 police cruisers still rolled up slow and obvious right in front of my house. Blue lights flashing just enough to make every head in the yard turn. I let out the longest sigh of my life and set down my spatula. "Here we go," I muttered under my breath. My heart was pounding, but I kept my face calm as I walked toward the fence where Karen was already waving the officers over like she had won the lottery. Officer 1 was a tall guy with a mustache who looked tired of this nonsense already. The second was a younger woman writing notes on her pad. Karen launched right in, her voice shrill and shaking with fake outrage. "These people are violating every HOA rule. The music, the cars on the street, the kids screaming. It's a public nuisance and I demand you shut it down now." I stepped up beside her, arms crossed tight across my chest. "Officer, this is my backyard on my property. We are not blocking any roads, the music is barely at conversation level and nobody is breaking any laws. Karen here just does not like fun." The male officer glanced between us and sighed himself. "Ma'am, we received a complaint about noise. Can we see your permit, or is this a private event? Before I could answer, the whole party had drifted closer. Guests were murmuring things like, "This is ridiculous, and who does she think she is?" The smell of charcoal and barbecue sauce mixed with the tension, and it made my stomach twist. Jessica had moved up quietly, standing just behind me, sipping her drink like she was watching a movie. I caught her eye again, and she gave me the tiniest nod. Karen was not letting up. She jabbed a finger toward the speaker. "Listen to that. Amplified sound. And look at all these cars. Fire hazard. I pay my dues to the HOA and I expect enforcement." The female officer rubbed her temple. "Ma'am, we are not HOA police. This looks like a standard backyard gathering. Unless there is a real violation, we cannot just shut it down." Karen went red in the face. "Then fine, I will file a formal complaint. You will hear from my lawyer." She started dialing someone else, probably her husband or the HOA president. I felt the frustration boiling over. "Are you kidding me right now?" I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You called the actual cops on a birthday-style barbecue. What is wrong with you?" The crowd was getting restless. One of my buddies yelled out, "Yeah, Karen, go home," and the kids started giggling. The officers looked uncomfortable, shifting their weight. The younger one asked me for my ID just to keep things official, and I handed it over, trying not to roll my eyes. This was turning into a full neighborhood spectacle, and I hated every second of it. But deep down I had this gut feeling things were about to flip. Jessica cleared her throat softly behind me. The sound cut through the noise like a quiet thunderclap. She set her plate down on the table and stepped forward, her posture changing from relaxed guest to something way more powerful. I did not know it yet, but that single step was about to change everything. Karen kept ranting, not even noticing the shift in the air. "Officer, I am telling you, this man is a menace to the whole street." Karen kept going, her voice cracking with anger. The cops were nodding politely, but you could tell they were over it. I stood there, heart hammering, wondering how much more of this circus I could take. The backyard that had smelled so good just an hour ago now felt heavy, with awkward silence broken only by the low hum of the speaker and the occasional kid whispering. Then Jessica spoke, and her voice was calm but carried like it belonged on a stage. "Actually, officers, I think there has been a misunderstanding." She pulled out her wallet, smooth as silk, and flipped open an ID badge that caught the sunlight. "My name is Jessica Ramirez. I am the mayor of this city, and this is my friend's private party." The words landed like a bomb. Karen froze mid-sentence, her mouth hanging open in the most satisfying way. The officers straightened up fast. "Ma'am," the male cop said, eyes wide. "Mayor Ramirez, it is an honor. We did not realize." The female officer actually smiled a little and closed her notepad with a snap. Karen blinked hard, like someone had slapped her. "What did you just say?" she stammered. I could not help the grin spreading across my face. "Yeah, Karen, meet Mayor Jessica Ramirez. She has been my friend for years, and she drove over here straight from City Hall because I invited her to relax and enjoy some good food. Not to deal with this." Jessica nodded and added with a little laugh, "I have to say the ribs are excellent, Ryan. Best in the city." Karen sputtered, her face turning purple. "This is a setup. You cannot be serious. I am calling the city council right now." But her hands were shaking as she fumbled with her phone. The officers exchanged a look, and the male one stepped toward her. "Ma'am, filing a false complaint and wasting police resources is actually against city ordinance. We are going to need your information." The whole yard erupted. Cheers, whistles, and someone even clapped. I let out a huge sigh of relief, the kind that comes from deep in your chest when justice finally shows up. Karen tried to argue back, pointing at me again, but the officers were not having it. They calmly asked for her ID and started writing her up for misuse of emergency services. Her voice got higher and higher until it cracked. "This is harassment," she yelled, but nobody was buying it. Jessica turned to the crowd with that warm mayor smile. "Folks, I am so sorry for the interruption. Please go back to enjoying your day. And Karen, if you have real concerns about the neighborhood, let's schedule a proper meeting at City Hall instead of ruining Saturdays." The look on Karen's face, oh man, it was pure defeat mixed with shock. She stood there clutching her phone while the officers finished the paperwork. The cops handed Karen a citation right there in front of everyone and told her she might have to appear in court if she kept this up. She snatched the paper and stormed off without another word, her shoulders slumped and her fancy polo suddenly looking ridiculous. I watched her go, and for the first time all day I felt light again. The backyard exploded with applause and laughter. Someone cranked the music back up and the kids went running back to the pool like nothing had happened. Jessica gave me a quick hug. "You handled that like a champ, Ryan. Next time just text me earlier and I will bring the city attorney too," she joked. The smell of barbecue came rushing back strong and delicious, and I laughed so hard my sides hurt. "Man, what a twist," I said, shaking my head. Who would have thought the mayor was chilling in my backyard the whole time? The party went on bigger and better than before. Neighbors who had been on the fence came over to introduce themselves properly. Stories flew around about all the other times Karen had tried to ruin block parties or holiday lights. Turns out she had been the neighborhood bully for years, and today karma finally caught up in the best way. I flipped more burgers, passed out drinks, and soaked in every happy sound: the clink of glasses, the sizzle on the grill, the pure joy of people connecting. By the time the sun started to dip, the officers had left with friendly waves and Karen was nowhere in sight. Jessica stayed until the end, helping me clean up and sharing stories about city life that had everyone hanging on her words. As the last guest left, I stood in my quiet yard breathing in the leftover smoke and the cool evening air. I let out one final satisfied sigh. Look, I am not saying every Karen gets what is coming, but today proved something important. Standing up for simple joys like a backyard barbecue can bring real justice when the right people are around. Do not let bullies like that steal your happiness. Reach out to your community, be kind, and remember, karma has a way of showing up when you least expect it, usually with a badge and a mayor on your side. If you are dealing with your own neighborhood Karen right now, hang in there. The good guys win more often than you think. Thanks for listening to my story, folks. Drop a like if you have ever had a run-in like this, and subscribe for more real-life twists. Until next time, keep grilling, keep laughing, and never underestimate who is at your party.